Hey everybody, I'm Natalie Brasington, and you're here watching the Resource Comedy Issue Cover Shoot. So I'm really excited today to be shooting Melissa Fumero and Stephanie Beatriz from Fox's Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I pitched these kind of screwball hijinksy ideas to the magazine, and they were graciously on board. Our first shot of the day was the two ladies sitting at this very kind of elegant bar setting, and they had on beautiful cocktail dresses. They were elegantly styled, great hair and makeup. And those ideas were subvertive with these little quirky things they were doing. Melissa had this huge cheeseburger, and Stephanie had a martini glass, but it was filled with maraschino cherries. Because they're such great actresses and are so used to playing off each other, they brought a lot to the shoot themselves and had ideas. So it was just a lot of working together and kind of collaborating. Let your elbow come out a little bit more just so I can see your arm. Beautiful. Great. And Stephanie, I love the hand on the hip. That's so good. Melissa, let your elbow come a little bit lower. Yeah, and like a little out. Yeah. And do this with your shoulders, and then do this. So for shot one, we had 4 light heads doing specific jobs. Our key source was an Ellen Chrome Rotolux, and that was high and pitched down. It's a big, beautiful, soft light, but it was pitched at an angle that just gave a nice drop shadow, and there was some fall off in the frame. We had a hair light with a 40-degree grid that was directly overhead on a super boom, and that had a one-stop CTO. That gave just like a little bit of orangey light. We wanted there to be some color and some mood to the lights so that it felt atmospheric. Behind the bar, we just had a head pitched far into the corner and was bouncing off this wood paneling. The idea was that it just looked practical and realistic. The other key thing that we did is just fill the bar with a light haze. It just gave it a little, end of the night bar atmosphere. The idea of shot 2 was this sort of classic Hollywood femme fatale kind of lighting. So for that, we used a Profoto Fresnel, which is one of the classic cinema lights, a focusable lens and barn doors so that you can really shape the light and create a hard source. So that was lighting the ladies. We also had a hair light. We just swung around that super boom. We took the CTO off the light, so we didn't have orange competing. That shot, there was less color going on. It was more just balanced. And then we're filling them in right behind camera. We just had a head with a reflector bouncing into a V-flat. Just to open it up, the Fresnel is a hard source. It's beautiful, but they're wearing very dark wardrobes. So in order to just bring up the values of those blacks so that when they print, they don't print too far down and it doesn't get muddy, we just wanted to bring up a little bit of light quality in the front. So the idea behind this shot was that the ladies are getting ready for their night out on the town, but they're not really nailing it. So we see Melissa in the mirror and she's putting her lipstick on, but gets distracted, turns her head and smears it all over her face. We see Stephanie, who's trying hard with these fake eyelashes, but they're just not working out and they're kind of hanging off of her eyes and stuck to her hands. So the mirror is actually the source of light on this shot. What we have is a head pointed at the mirror. It's a hard reflective surface, so it will, of course, bounce light back on the ladies. So then right behind the ladies, just to bring that background up from a dark, kind of muddy background to just a medium gray, we have Ellen Chrome Octabank just kind of pointed at the cyc to flood the space. So for the next shot, we of course wanted to get a cop car in the story somehow. But because the narrative of the shoot was more about this hijinks kind of night out on the town, We see the ladies dressed up, and it's more as if they came across this car and they're hot wiring it and they're taking it out for a night on the town. We did the shot later in the day, so the parking lot where we had the car was just kind of in this nice open cast shadow. That did a lot of the work for us for the lighting. It filled in the space, and we just put a large Elechrome Octabank on a medium roller, kind of high overhead right over the camera to fill in the space and key light the ladies. So we moved on to a variation of this shot where we're not looking at the car as straight on, it's a horizontal, and we see the ladies just kind of hanging out in the police cruiser. For this, I wanted to mix it up a little, and we kind of have this kind of wild flary light. This is actually just a couple of bare heads doing their job. We have a head pointed through the front windshield and then through the passenger rear door, then being bounced back with a show card. So really the ladies are just being front filled with a shiny piece of cardboard. Finally, the piece de resistance of this shoot was a shot I was really excited about. We saved it for the last shot of the day. The concept was that the ladies are kind of done with their hijinks, their shenanigans and night out on the town, and they're crashing a kitchen staff party. So we see a bunch of line cooks out behind the restaurant hanging out, and the ladies invited themselves back. In order to light this, we were still working in daylight, so we just stopped down and used a little bit of the open shade of that parking lot area to fill in the space. We also have a bare head with CTO bouncing into the white wall of the studio inside the door. The idea is just to give it kind of that glowy light to, make it look as though it's a tungsten lit space inside and make the color temperature of the rest of the shot look a little bluey and a little nighty. Overhead, we have a bare Profoto head with a zoom reflector and a piece of CTO that's creating kind of a practical source of like a street lamp. To the left side of the frame, we have a head with a piece of red gel. So the idea is that you can use your imagination. It will look like an exit sign or the reflection of like a bar, something just to give it a little atmosphere and a little dimension. We have all these little practical lights, and to bounce back some of that light and get kind of this flood of warm light, we have a bunch of V-flats in front of the scene, just bouncing a bunch of light back in. To clean it up a little bit more, we have a white beauty dish with a sock, high above camera, lighting the ladies. And the thing that I think really sells this scene is that we used our handy dandy hazer again. That's pumping out through the door just to make it seem a little atmospheric.